Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and what a wonderful day. We are here for the GeekVerse 613th episode, the Planet of the Apes. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes review. We have done, I can't remember how many retros there was. I think 5 original, the remake, so we're at 8 or 9, but we're at the end here, man. When we're at the end, I'm just feeling...
Just as sure as a rock is covered in chills already.
Feels like the beginning. It doesn't feel like the end. It feels like the beginning.
Yeah, the review hasn't even started. I'm covered in chills already, but I am the Clown Prince of Evolution, Trasnell, and I'm joined by...
What a wonderful day! Kirkland Patzer.
Shay's like, shut the fuck up!
The Echo, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. As we said, if this is your first time tuning into GeekVerse, maybe you're just waiting for this Apes review and whatnot, you can go back. We did, in honor of this, to lead up, we talked about the retro many times, but we did a retrospective, which is just reviewing the old films, but looking back at, what they did with the franchise, film at the time. There's trivia, lots of good stuff. Go back. Not only were they fun discussions, because tons of the Apes movies, like we'll get into today, have lots of, identity politics and cover racial things and prejudice. There was just one or two great memes always born along the way. Whether it was No All They'll Know, whether it was how do orangutans have sex with their hands. There was tons of fun stuff. I feel like just the whole Tim Burton remake retro was a good time because what a wild movie that was. But yeah, here we are. We went through all those movies. Next week, we will be doing a ranking. So as usual, we'll rank the films, we'll rank the villains, we'll probably rank the scenes as well. And yeah, that should be a good time. So look out for that. That'll close us off until we get another Apes, which I think we should. Hopefully, tracking's right and it's going to do what it does. And if so, we should be getting some more. So that's a hopeful thing. And
Chills.
Oh, yeah, chills.
Just you telling me that.
Yeah.
Just as sure as a rock.
But head down below for everything you need to know. Patreon, audio, video. Patreon's the best way to support us. You get episodes ad-free, early, exclusive. We just did a newscast, so you get that days early if you wanted. Lots of other good things on there. Many exclusive episodes, many ad-free episodes, RSS feed, lots of good stuff, so look out for that. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. So, Mr. Field, what did you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
I love this movie. This is my number one of the year so far.
What?
Oh yeah.
Fucking kidding me?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Overdue?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
This is overdue.
I don't want to edit this episode anymore. I don't want to edit this.
just hit it. Oh look, the Clone of Fire's in there.
Yeah, no, I am placing it at number one. This is like Dune is definitely there for.
No,
like,
I don't want to.
Shut the fuck up.
Enough with your Dune flack,
People love Dune, and for me, like I remember feeling like I like the first one more than the second one. I think is how I said it. Is that what I said? That's what I said. If you remember, okay, yeah. So. For me, Apes is definitely it's my jam. I love this new Apes series that they've just pumping out. And just the way that this movie started caught me off guard. And the way that they tackled certain things in this movie caught me off guard. It felt, even though we saw what the general twist was and the narrative was with the trailers, I still felt like I was surprised and I was really taken aback by just certain things going on in this movie. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think Madison said this too, like it was not as heavy as the other ones. While I always appreciate that heaviness, this one was nice just to kind of have a reprieve from that tone and really set up a very interesting new universe here that is hopefully gets to be explored further. I'm just super hyped on this film. I really do want to go see it again already. And the 2.5 hours that this movie was, it did not feel like it. I felt like I could have done more. Add and easily throw like another extra half hour. I was loving everything about this film. It was hard to keep my excitement contained before this review because I didn't want to allude to how I was feeling about it. But yeah, this movie was great, and like while I was
around hard,
you were
all day.
smirking. Yeah, you were smirking when we were leaving. I was like, "Keep your secrets, okay?"
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I wanted to listen to the score one more time before coming on the cast, but they don't have it, so I compiled a separate playlist just to kind of get me into the mood.
Just listen to Wonderwall all day or something.
He like re-recorded the music by memory, but it sounds nothing like it at all.
Got zero work done today.
don't know if you can see it, but it's called Ape Day Feels.
No, I can't see it.
What type of tracks are on there?
I see the Shouldn't Leave My Wife playlist. I don't know what that one
No,
is, but
I got Gamers Grotto, Ape Day
No,
Feels,
no.
and the Ranch Life. But the Ranch Life is my special
Ranch
one.
Life.
God.
Is that
Yeah,
for
that-
Yellowstone?
You show me. Yeah, don't know.
The Ape Day Feels though, it's just a bunch of like it's mostly Michael's tracks because he just popped off some of like, the best scores. No, not that Michael. There's one Rise track and then the rest are Michael's.
Yeah, you're just rocking to Ape score, and then like track 4 is like dun, 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 dun,
Beta,
yeah,
beta. Yeah.
kidding.
Nothing in there.
Oh Lord! Just imagine this movie like we found something, and like they find this record. That's the only music they have is Michael Jackson.
I can't stress it enough though. If you are on the fence about seeing this movie, or you're not sure, go see this movie. I think everyone should see this movie in theaters. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I had a great time seeing it. We took up the whole row. We had a whole posse that was great. Yeah, this was a great freaking movie.
Only you can see it though. If you watch movies alone, fuck, you can't see
Not
this
for
movie.
loners.
Yeah, don't go see it. No.
It says at the beginning, they're like, you better be here with friends, you know. Mr. Patzer, was it a wonderful night film?
I mean,
watching
yeah,
experience?
it was a wonderful day for sure.
Oh,
Taylor
no,
mentioned we had the whole posse pull up, so it was good, positive vibes going into it. I'm a little bit like conflicted on this one though, because I feel like my overall feels, I'm still a little puzzled on like where I am solidly. I feel like I was really hyped leading up to it, just because we did all the retros. This was the first Apes movie I've ever seen in theaters too, so that was kind of like a big moment. I think that this movie has fantastic like first and second act, and I think there's moments in the third act that are really good. And Taylor, you mentioned that you wanted like more to it. I think this could have been fucking another 2 hours. I feel like. I feel like that there's moments in the beginning that are really maybe slow, and I feel like that could be seen as a negative. I don't see it as a negative at all. I think that the pacing is really good for what they're doing, but it just feels like they just crank up the speed at the end, and there's just so many things that they just rush through that like certain conflicts that we just get resolved, and like by the end of it, when we kind of deal with our main thread, I was really like, is that actually it? Like I was just waiting for another consequence type thing to come in for our protagonist to tackle. So I think because it just rushed so quickly near the end, I was actually just left puzzled. And then we have, never mind. I'll save that for spoilers. But yeah, I am a little bit conflicted. I think that this is a beautifully made film. Just like we mentioned on the retro, just with this new era of Apes movies, what they're able to do with the mocap and everything. Like this movie just looks so beautiful, and I really like to just see the planet of the apes hundreds of years afterwards, and like just really see like the vegetation overgrowth, and just see how these apes factions are kind of just divvying up into their own actual like factions and clans and stuff. So that was really cool to see. Really love seeing just like, I really, really liked our new protagonist as well. I thought that, saying goodbye to Caesar after the last movie might feel weird, just getting all new characters. But I actually felt like quite attached to our main protagonist and just his struggles. So, I thought they did a really good job with that. Really good job. Like it's tough to like pick out like what my issues are, other than just the fact that I think maybe we should have spent a lot more time with trying to avoid spoilers here, but just like with our main Proximus Caesar type threat. Like it just seemed like that was really quick in my mind, and I only think it feels that way because of the earlier portions felt more drawn out, but I wouldn't have wanted to shorten them. Like I really like what those are. I'm hoping maybe there's just some like extended cut in a vault somewhere that they're going to release that like has a lot more extension to later portions of the film, because I really think that brings it down quite a bit for me. And while I was in the chair eating my popcorn, maybe like an hour in, I was thinking that this might be better than Dawn. Like it had that potential, but I just think what happens near the end for me, like the third act in particular, is just. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I was wanting more, and I think they just had such great ingredients to make it like a perfect film, and like truly a perfect film. I'm choosing my words carefully there, but I think this had potential for that, but I don't think it was. So yeah, not my movie of the year. I'm glad Taylor absolutely loved it. It was a good time for sure. What a wonderful day. There's some fun moments for sure that came out of it, but yeah, a little bit upset with how it ended, but
if you watched the version with them in the mocap suits, would that be better? Would that be the change?
Yeah, maybe I like the first act less. I guess maybe be more on
the
par
Michael
with the
Jackson
third act.
tracks. I heard too.
Yeah.
I want to see that version. Release the whatever
Jackson
that.
cut.
Yeah, with the Jackson cut, I guess.
Planet of the Jacksons.
Planet of the Jacksons. But yeah, I'll pass it off there. I want to get into spoilers, so yeah.
Well, good.
We'll skip Travis.
Because buckle up, I'm gonna do a 40-minute non-spoiler here. But no, 3 notes. One, they played the trailer before the movie, and when I say the trailer, I mean the trailer to this movie, not a cell. Because Kirkland was trying to assure me, he's like, "Nah, it's just a cell phone video."
Because every time that happens, they have a trailer right before the movie. It's usually like
some
beep,
bad
beep,
joke-
beep,
yeah,
beep,
get off
beep,
your phone, and
turn
the
off your
character's looking
phone.
around.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like nothing to do with the movie. And like, this is
And
so
then fucking
clever.
Tom Cruise comes at the beginning. Thanks for coming to see the movies at the movies. where they
Michael
should be
Jackson.
seen.
Thanks for seeing another
Jackson.
Apes movie.
Oh my god. How many times did you say his name, man? You summoned him into your house.
Oh my!
For the audio listeners, Travis's poster behind him just
So when the
literally
feet fucking fall
poltergeist.
behind his head.
One of them's The Shining too, so that's a bad omen.
That
After I
is
finish my
creepy.
non-spoiler thoughts, I'm gonna take that down. Good thing they didn't fall, but I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson. Let's be real,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, we got the trailer for Kingdom of the Apes. Whatever Kingdom, I'm just gonna call it Kingdom. I'm not gonna say that a fucking long time. We got the trailer for Kingdom before the movie. We all thought it was not that, so that wasn't great. I was half convinced that it was going to like be a different movie. It wasn't. 2, my wife was not there, so she's not a part of the crew, as they both referred to as a crew. So that's a mental note for me to also.
You said the
bring up.
posse. It
Well, the
wasn't quite
posse,
crew,
yeah. So the posse, she's not part of the posse. So that's 2. I'll bring that up awkwardly when we're camping. 3, the movie. I'm very excited next week for the rankings episode because much the thoughts that Kirkland had, I thought those were going to be my thoughts, and they still are. But I thought I was going to be saying them first. But I think I'm pretty in line with Kirkland, where I think Acts 1, Act 2 are very strong. I'm not going to say like perfect because I have to watch that again, but like I don't have too many really critiques about those acts. I enjoy the new characters. We had heard this before, but I think, and this does attribute to the third act too, I really appreciate how they deal with Caesar, especially in the first act, but then going forward, the idea of what the legend is and what that means to other people. And because that's the best Apes is like, we talked about that with the Tim Burton one, right? Not to bring down one to raise another, but we talked about how that was just like an action movie. And, you know, there was still, even then, I think I gave it like a positive review. I still guilty pleasure. But Apes is the best when like it means something, and they literally just use Caesar as Jesus or God, whatever. So that's the thing of taking that image and doing amalgamation of God and Jesus and Caesar and people twisting and turning it. Some people sticking that is really good to see. So I think that stuff's all a hit. I like all the characters, as I said. I think they do a good job, almost similar to Dawn, where all the characters have different motivations and you can buy, I think, the majority of them, right? Even there's a character I really like in here that does something you're like, fuck, that's brutal. But coming from their point of view, like the best example I can give with Not Spoilers this movie, when we did Dawn and Gary Oldman's going to blow up all the fucking apes. Like we said, all he knows is they got the power on and now apes are attacking. From his point of view, I got to fucking kill these apes. And there's multiple moments like this with the apes, the human, like that, where it's like, I don't like this, but you would get where you have to because it is kind of like a war, right? I think that with Proximus, it's funny. We'll get into spoilers. I like him better than some other characters, but I do think there is like they didn't hit the potential that was set up, especially from the trailers. I thought, oh, this is going to be like a bullet point Golden Geek nominee. As of right now, I would have my top 5, but I sadly could see him being pushed out. And I didn't think that was going to happen in this one. I think there's some really crazy echoes to War, which I was kind of surprised because War was just the previous film. It's not like Rise and Battle, or which was it? No, Conquest, right? When it's both the monkeys rising up and taking over. They're similar, but there's like 20 years apart. This is like 6 to 7 years apart, and there's some things that are just literally, it's like the exact same story. And I'm very curious to see the people that don't like War. It's not as long, but there's just beats with the villain, with what the villain wants to do, with what is happening to the apes. There's a whole section that is just War for the Planet Apes, like reskinned here. And I was like watching this, like, really, well, we're doing this, and I like War. So yeah, I think it's the third act to me that doesn't, I won't say falls apart, but gets a little weaker. But I'll say that how the movie ends is really strong. I think it's a great setup for the future. And right away when it ended, I'm like, I'm ready for the next one. I want to see it. And not in a way of like, oh, I'll just consume the content. I like apes. No, it legitimately got me, okay, I'm really curious and excited to see where all these characters and this world goes. So, and that's a good thing. So I think they did a great job. And now I can take like a little sigh of relief because I never saw the Maze Runners, but at least I've seen this. And for me, it was good enough, and I still really liked it. It's nowhere near like a fail or anything. This gives me much more confidence if this guy does end up, like the plan is for him to direct a Zelda. This gave me like, okay, I can see some good Zelda-isms here where I'm like, okay, I can be a little less worried. Where if the whole movie was like the third act, maybe I'd be like, man, we're fucking screwed for Zelda. I saw this movie, I was like, okay, I can see the vision here. So that was like another back of my mind thing. But yeah, overall, I thought it was great for the most part, but I think it's probably in my top 5 for the year. Obviously, that's always fluctuating throughout the year. It's not. I don't think it's in the top 3, but I think I might be able to say top 5. Letterboxd is fucking
Man.
Yeah, it's tough. I'll have to think. It's neck and neck with the top 5 right now. I got Dune, and that's like Monkey Man, Lisa Frankenstein, that Civil War, Love Live Bleeding, and Immaculate slot. There's a lot of fighting going on there, so. Look at that. Clay gave it a 4 out of 5. You know, that's
nice.
Very rare. You know, I was expecting
rare.
that. Yeah. April gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Summer gave it a 4. I'm just on the letterbox now.
Nice.
So there you go. So there's some of our patrons. Shout out to our patrons and listeners.
That's up to the patrons.
But yeah,
I've fallen so far behind on my letterbox. It's atrocious. I think I have like Beekeeper on there as my only movie for the year.
So someone just keeps checking Kirkland's list.
I
like,
feel
man,
rotten too because it's like I can't just review a movie like from months ago because like is that the fresh thoughts? Like is that appropriate?
You still just make a
do?
letterbox list to rank them. That's
just
like,
not give stars or reviews. I guess
you don't have to.
Okay.
I
didn't know that was the rules.
I do that right now, and then I'll review them after this review drops. I'm not Taylor Field who's spoiling my score and stuff.
I don't do that anymore.
Not anymore. You've been good. But I'll list it. So if you're really invested, you could go to my list. But
okay, maybe I'll refer.
And it's
Man,
good for Golden
strip me out
Geeks.
too. I'm just waiting for some feet to fall behind Travis right now with the painting that fell behind
happen.
him. There's gonna be some like the
I don't know
host.
what you're talking.
This is a good episode for the video viewers if you're if you're thinking about checking out the video episode. But anything else, Travis, on your thoughts? Are we okay? Well, we're gonna take our first ad break and then jump into some spoilers. So we'll be right back. And we are back. Travis is still dismantling his poster that haunted Michael Jackson was tearing down because we've said his name too many times. It's like a Beetlejuice effect.
Jackson.
Yeah.
No, look at me! Oh no! Jesus Christ!
He's gone.
That was the painting. That was me watching the painting.
Oh no! Jesus Christ!
I was trying to cast my shadow. Jackson's here.
Oh yeah, the little shadow effect. There you go.
I killed him.
Audio listeners are just hating this moment right
Yeah.
now, but
I killed him again though, just like Evil Dead. Like I just sawed his head off. Sorry, Michael. Yeah.
right, where do you guys want to start?
So do you jump to the ending? Because I feel like that's.
I do want to
want
start
to.
there
I
because
wanna
I'm
go
kind of
there. Let's
heated.
do it.
I'm kind of
Okay,
heated,
well,
and I've
I'd
been
like to
heated
go to the
since last
beginning.
night.
So the beginning we meet Noah. No, okay, go ahead. Where do we want to go at the ending?
No, just like kind of piggybacking on what I was mentioning earlier on how like the part that I'm the most conflicted on is just kind of how quick it was to get through the whole fucking like camps, I guess, that Proximus is setting up, right? Like he's in Noah's words, he's stealing clans to just build his kingdom, which I loved all of that setup. Like I loved all of the introduction to Proximus's kingdom and just kind of like getting this thing that he's after. And I also I didn't mention in my non-spoiler section, but I feel like I really did like Proximus for the most part, just kind of like the cadence that he carried himself in. I was really expecting him to be a more just tyrannical type character that's just like pure evil. You just hate him from the get-go, but I feel like he has enough charisma to kind of like somewhat win people over. Like he exudes fear. We see that with I think his name's Anaya, Noah's friend. That's not.
I feel like
Suna.
that terminology is not right. He exudes fear. I feel like that would make it seem like he's like scared all the time.
He exudes
intimidation.
Maybe. Yeah, there you
Fear.
go.
He's
Better
just like,
word.
I'm really scared, guys. We gotta get this fucking
That's
vault open.
definitely Anaya. That's definitely Anaya.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
definitely
We're all
Noah's
gonna
friend there.
fucking die if we don't open that vault. Get to work, guys. Okay.
But he also just has that presence of command that I think they were able to really do a good job at showing. Like I got that from the trailer, and when we actually were in the movie, I think they did a good job at showing that as well. But even just the way that he would like talk to the humans and like not be super scary to them, like for the most part, like I think just because going into it I was expecting him to be like a Koba, right? Like just pure hating of the humans, and just like Apes is the way like they are disgusting. I can't even look at them. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise, because he just seemed a little bit more intelligent, and like he seemed like someone that wanted knowledge more so than just pure power or pure just genocide of the humans. So that was a pleasant surprise. But again, like just the issues I had was more so, it just seems so easy for our heroes to just get into the vault, get what they wanted, flood the base, and then there's the big flood that happens, and then we just take out Proximus with the Eagles, which I thought that was a really cool sequence. I did like that. It reminded me of some Wakanda moments of them doing like the duels up on the cliffside there. But I think also the fact that we have not Nova, May escape and go away. I was expecting like there to be almost like a red herring threat with Proximus, and then we have the humans that come in, and like that's the threat that Noah has to deal with. But we just go back to the Eagle Clan, and they're just rebuilding, and I'm just like, really? Like that's it? It just seems so easy.
Remember that weekend when we were fucking slaves for a couple days? Yeah, man,
Yeah.
that shit was crazy.
I mean, I know Taylor loved it, but like, how did you feel on that, Travis? Did it seem quick for you? Am I kind of alone in that sense? If it just was that easy? Maybe it was also them just doing their mission. Like they just did everything in the sight of like Proximus's camp. I know it's nighttime, but it just seemed so easy to do it.
well, that I was fine with, because I think he wanted that to happen though, right? So I think he was
Proximus? Okay.
Yeah, so I think
fair
he would have gave note to all his apes like, hey, make it seem they're gonna think that they're sneaking and being, clever, but they're not. We know what they're doing, so let them do what they're doing. Because the fact that he was waiting at the door to me shows like, okay, this was a plan. And he did say, "Oh, I'm using you because you're a clever ape." I think for me, it's my issue. I think I agree with you that things go a little quick, and I was a little caught off guard that it just ended with them all back, and just even like the trees are built up very quickly again. I'm like, okay, I guess it was, like I said, just a crazy weekend where we lost our dad and a couple other ones. But for me, it was just the weird thing that you can take both movies, and we have our main ape that's lost family who's looking for revenge, that gets put into a camp with a king that's making the apes work towards a goal that's not theirs. Which movie am I talking about?
War for the Planet of the Apes.
It's both of them. That's what was odd to me, that the whole thing of why did Woody Harrelson need the apes? Well, he needed them so they could build something. Why did Proximus need the apes? Well, he needed it so they could take something down. Like, I know something like that's not building, but it's the same thing where they're in camps. He is he's not as bad as Koba, but to me he was a combo of Koba and Woody Harrelson, because he had those traits like Woody Harrelson where he's locking up. He's not as vicious and violent, but then when he does get a chance to talk to Caesar about the humans, he's like, we're gonna get in that vault and we're gonna fucking kill all the humans. So it was like Koba, where it's just like he's being nice to them now, but the second he gets that artillery, they're going to target the humans and take them all down. So again, very much like Woody Harrelson, I enjoy watching Proximus more, but that's the thing where it's, and this is what I said to Taylor in the car, something that I was disappointed about. I enjoy Proximus more, but Woody Harrelson was more fleshed out, and we even said he could have been more fleshed out. I was very surprised they never talked about Noah's dad at all, ever. Not once, and I was fine. Like, it just didn't make sense to me of like, at any point they're going to be like, hey, we want him to help. And no ape is like, yeah, there might be an issue though, because we killed that leader's his dad. And that to me is just like, for the first 2 acts, I thought they were doing very well. And that was just, the second he buries him and he tells his mom, yeah, dad's dead, that dad never comes back up again. And his mission is much like Caesar's. He's going to get his people back and he's going to take down these people, right? That like took him down. So I think for me, I was just more disappointed when we got there and we saw the apes building stuff. I was like, oh, we're just doing this again. What I thought at first, because at first it seemed like the apes weren't being abused, and they're not being abused like with Woody Harrelson, but they're definitely like against their will. There's some shady stuff going on. I thought we were getting a Northman moment where it was going to be revealed that the mom was actually with Proximus, and like, because it was weird that only really the dad ape died, and it didn't seem like many of the other apes died, right? And I thought there was going to be some big reveal. Fuck, no, like they are this tribe is together now, and Noah's like broken. But it was just the same plot from War of the Apes of they kidnap these apes because they need the ape power, and I was just, oh, that's it. So that's where my third act was. I almost disengaged from it. Where that's why and I agree. I think everything moves at like a warp speed, and that's why it's funny for War, which people don't like. I think that's why it doesn't move at warp speed, because Caesar's at that camp for a long time. We're at that camp for a very long time. We're here. It is like the reduced version of that, because maybe there's a script where like, oh, this is too similar. So that's where I was a little caught off guard. And yeah, Proximus I just think is like very good, but definitely needed more of him, more with the motivations, more of everything. So, but very entertaining character. So I have similar problems, but different problems at the same time with it.
No, yeah, I'm glad you made that observation, because I feel like in the moment it didn't really hit me, the comparisons to War, but like now that you're mentioning them, it it really does make sense. Water time.
Yeah.
But like for me, it was more so expecting a lot of interesting things to be going on in the camp. Like you mentioned the Northman reference, which I think that would have been spicy for you know, to have like the tie of the mother and Proximus. I think in hindsight, I'm glad it didn't go that route, just because it makes it feel like if they go your version and there is some like romantic relationship or something, or like betrayal amongst the mother, I feel like there should have been a closer tie amongst the kingdoms of like the Eagles, and like maybe they should have had interactions. It seems like
it would have been
for
a
what
big
the movie
stretch.
was. Yeah, like
It's a
it seems like they
booty
are
call.
very separate. And then of course when the masked apes come in, they're just like, who is this? Let's find his camp, essentially, because they are just trying to absorb kingdoms. And the comparisons to just like the Roman kingdom and like how they're able to just like basically win wars and then steal women and like just grow their city that way. I did like the comparisons, especially that we have another Caesar here, a Proximus Caesar, that's, you know, just a lot more of a, obviously an emperor as opposed to what Caesar was, which is just like the elder, the terminology that they mentioned there. So your observation definitely maybe brings it down a little bit, because it is so similar to War. I am not a major fan of War, so maybe
I don't
that's
like
another
War
reason.
either. I don't want War to happen to anybody. I like the movie War for the Planet, but I just
You like
want
the
to
song though? The song's pretty good.
What is it good?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ghost's gonna come get me too. Fuck.
But yeah, I don't know. I'll throw it to Taylor.
Yeah, because you love the third act. You said best third act in cinema. So
Well, I feel like you guys were highlighting the similarities between this and War, and personally, I feel like there are certain things in all these ape films, not the 5 other ones, but the Wahlberg one. I feel like there's some similarities in there. Maybe it's just like isolated to just when there's like chase scenes and stuff like that.
I think there's similarities, but like the whole like Dawn, Rise, and War all have very different. I think like plot lines and third acts.
But
know?
even so, like the setup of communication and all that kind of stuff, you don't understand that's a thing till the very end. But in retrospect, after we got there, I just felt like, okay, well, this feels very much like Dawn, and just what the humans were trying to do. Not necessarily the apes, but then you do have.
But I think that was smart that they didn't reveal it in the movie, though, right?
It is smart.
They just wait to the very last minute, be like, "Oh, they're trying to get communication." So I think that was smart. Where this is a whole act of War from the Planet of the Apes, just redux.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and not that there's anything wrong with that in my opinion, because I like War a lot. I really enjoyed it, and I think as far as Proximus Caesar goes, I really like this guy as a villain. I think he was really as you mentioned, Kirkland, he was charismatic to a slight degree, and I like that, how he was friendly, he was hosting, but he was also, as he says, like, he doesn't care how many apes he expends to get into this vault. He just wants to get in there, and I liked every time he was talking, and when Nova, or May, I guess, pulled out the gun, and he's smiling, but he's like moving him in behind all the apes, and he's like, "Are there more of those in there in my vault?" Like he's moving in between them. He's like this piece of shit guy. He's so shady, but I really like him.
Proximus. I'm pretty impressed by that voice you had there.
Yeah, for Halloween.
Yeah.
You can go
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, that's exactly
Stole
it.
our adrenochrome ending, those bastards.
The eagle scene taking him down was wonderful. I thought that was really, really cool. I really liked that. But yeah, he's just, I was not expecting him to have William Macy in there too, of just being one, like his subservient or whatnot, and just a little bit of that insight too, where he likes jokes, and he likes stories with Julius Caesar and Roman stuff. I was like, I find that really fascinating, and I think that totally clicks, because when you're like Proximus Caesar and you're trying to you want to take over, and you want to be instilling this baseline kind of control and dominance. Look at how the Romans did it, and I mean, fuck, it's pretty
jobs.
basic, and hand jobs, yeah.
What is it? What is this in this book? And William H. Macy's like, no, not that book. See, that's another thing that I liked that character. One more from him. I didn't understand. I don't think
William H. Macy's character?
Yeah, I don't think he served much as a purpose. I think you could have just had a nice ape tell May all that stuff, and we'd get the same.
I don't think he was meant to serve any larger purpose other than really reaffirm, like he was there to die.
Kids.
No, like he wasn't there to serve any other purpose except to reaffirm the position of Noah and his friends to see May actually kill someone, because at this point they haven't killed anyone, and I mean they've never seen humans kill, or they haven't even seen humans talk. This is all very new to them. So for an ape to kill an ape, that's a big no, really. You don't do that. And so here, this human
Is it
just
though
killed.
now?
I don't think it is.
I don't
Really.
think
I think
anymore.
it varies for clans. I think in this kingdom it doesn't matter, but I think for their clan it's a big no. I don't think they're preaching like Caesar's way or anything like that, but I think for them at least they're preaching like, well, we don't kill each other, like we're a clan, we're all one family, like we're together. And so in this moment here, for them to see a human, an intelligent human, kill one of their own kind who is also a talking human, like it blows their mind probably to, like, out of the water, thinking like, I can't believe she did this, and we're supposed to trust her when she immediately just killed him with his back to her. Like, this is he serves as that starting seed where they're really kind of not turning on her, but casting more doubt. I shouldn't say it's the starting seed, because Proximus kind of instigates that at the beginning when they're at the dinner table. And
Yeah, but he's
he
also
kind of-
unreliable narrator, right? Like, of course, he's going to say the human's shitty in a way.
True,
right?
and so he does, like, Noah does get like concerned, and so maybe it's in the back of his mind. But when she kills Macy's character, that really cements it. And then he sees the book of them in cages inside the bunker. So there's just all these things lining up, and I'm kind of like drifting a bit more here forwards. But when it gets to the point where she is trying to, I was kind of surprised that she showed up, but I like that she showed up to just kind of like maybe reconcile or just say like sorry, whatever her true intentions were. When she had that gun
was
behind
ready
her
to
back,
fucking cap
I
him.
really liked that scene
I
that
did
she just
too.
couldn't trust her. I thought that was really, really bold and really interesting, and I feel like it sets up like just that future of they probably will be enemies, and him just pondering,
Yeah.
Noah pondering like, I don't know if we're going to be allies, if there's any way we can be allies. And I think, sorry, go ahead.
It like slightly it slightly reminded me of the sequence between Caesar and what was
Malcolm?
Franco's character's name?
Oh, fuck. What was his?
Whatever his name was.
Guy
Was it Aaron?
Nah, that doesn't sound right at all. Fucking, I don't know.
Oh, I looked it up. It was Aaron.
Get more not because of like they were super close and like this is goodbye forever, but it was also just like that relationship is never gonna be like what it was, or like it's pretty much just goodbye, like permanently. And I don't think Caesar ever saw Aaron, air quote again, but
Will Rodman.
Will Rodman, of course.
Dr.
Yes.
Rodman.
Dr. Rodman.
Dr. Rodman.
That
will
didn't
see you
age well.
now. Oh, doctor, my ass hurts.
Oh boy.
Please
But,
check it with your cough.
Like I think it's possible that Noah and her will see each other again, but definitely not on the same alliance scale. I think we're prepping for War of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes of the Humans of the Rise of the Human of the Planet of the Apes. That's gonna be
Rodman.
next.
Dawn.
Yeah, Donald the Rodman.
So I forgot a Dawn in there. Yeah.
I'm May Rodman. Will was my grandfather, motherfucker. And my ass fucking hurts. It's funny. I took it the other way. I took it more as like it's Caesar and Malcolm, where at the end they have their because
Is
like
that Woody's character, Malcolm? Who's Malcolm?
When you said Woody without Woody Harrelson, I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about? Jason Clark
Woody
from Dawn.
Rodman. With the sore
Woody
ass.
Rodman. Jason Clark from Dawn. He's the human there.
Oh yeah,
Malcolm.
okay.
So, because at that movie, they say goodbye to each other, and they do the same thing of like, I really wanted it to work between human and apes, and she's like, I thought we had a chance too. Where this is them both saying they want to work, but with much more like trepidation, right? Because that Malcolm and Caesar is. We had a chance for it to work. It's not going to work. It's going to spread that these apes killed these humans. Da, 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 da. This is like a second chance because May went out there clearly scared and met some bad apes, but also met a full tribe and two apes in particular that were really kind and helped her, right? So her personality is no longer going to be skewed that way if all apes are bad. Now, she's definitely on, that's what I love, she's a soldier and she's on a mission. Like, she's not a soldier, but she is in this sense, right? Like, she has a job, she has to get there and do something. And same thing with Noah, he thinks very differently of humans, he sees they can be compassionate. Now, she did fucking kill a bunch of the apes, like, she drowned a bunch, but we'll get into that later. I completely agree with that decision. And I did not expect, and I guess before we go off to a different route, I love the ending. I think it sets up a perfect scenario where here's where I will go against it. I hope it's not like Malcolm where, and in between movies he died. I think this character, May, is essential to the sequel. I think
Absolutely.
with the tie to Noah and the tie to humans, she has to be. Because if Malcolm and Caesar are the end of humans and apes can't get along, this to me is like the potential beginning of oops. That's what they'll come together. Human and apes together. We are now oops. No, but like this to me is the potential deal breaker of how can we work with apes? Well, May has a history, has said these things, knows the tribe. That's how they can try to break bad ones together. Because let's say, we don't know for sure, but let's say this is still our continuity, right? Where things don't change. Eventually, in Battle for the Apes, the humans did find a way, and apes found a way, right? And I feel like that should be the ending of this franchise, even if it is a new timeline. They should find a way. So I love, like, that was a perfect trajectory, but at the same time, she was smart enough to know if I show my face, because I did probably kill some apes to save myself, I got this gun ready. So if no one makes a move, I'm going to fucking kill them. And that's why I can't believe I'm saying this, that when we do our rankings, I did not think like, this May character is going to be pretty high on my rankings. I loved this character because they made her very gray area, but only from our point of view. It's literally like, think about when they find those books in the vault and they're like having all this experience. Compare it to the first Planet of the Apes. The same thing happens, right? They find the doll, they find glasses, they find fake teeth and everything like that. Because Charlton Heston is a human and he's our protagonist, we're with them. We're like, yeah, fuck you, apes. Like, I'm not fuck you, but I'm just saying, like, you're supposed to be like, Heston is like, yeah, we ruled the earth and you guys fucking ruined it, right? So now when we flip it and it's the apes seeing that, she comes off as like an antagonist of like, they're reading these books. She approaches them from the dark, like, hey, we gotta get out of here. And it's very like fuck, is she gonna kill them? Like, what's she gonna do? Like, you can't trust her. But again, if you were to make this movie from her point of view, it's the same thing as Taylor Heston, right? He's just trying to survive and get through, and same thing. He'll kill apes. He'll threaten apes. He fucking threatens like Zira, who's like the nicest ape in the world. Like, he's a gun to her at one point. Like, I'm gonna fucking blow her head off. Like, that's the thing where for her to shoot out this dam, she doesn't want to, but like, is she supposed to believe Proximus is not going to even get her hunt down and kill her? And same thing, he has said, even at dinner, once I get that vault, I'm gonna kill these fucking humans. And she now at the end of that movie, with it revealing there's tons of humans underground, more so when they call, which we'll get into when they start talking about underground. I was like, oh fuck, here we go. But like,
That's what I was thinking too.
yeah, I was worried when they go, oh, there's a section of humans still underneath, and I was like, oh no, they're gonna have superpowers. I didn't think they were going that route, but I just had flashbacks to beneath.
Yeah.
But that's what I love with this character. That it's much like Charlton Heston and Taylor, like. Everything they did made sense for that character. It was a Posar character. She did kill probably dozens of apes by sinking that plot, but it's like,
Oh yeah.
it's in this stage, it's human versus ape, and she's on Team Human. She has to defend him. So yeah, she has to fucking sink this vault, and I loved it. And I did not think I'd be walking away. And the last point I make is only thing I've seen her in is in Netflix Witcher. This is a performance that you're gonna see her in a bunch of stuff. I feel like people are gonna be like, get me the fucking girl from Apes. I thought she fucking delivered a home run here. In Witcher, she's good. Here, she was great.
You saw her in one more thing that you and I reviewed together, actually. This is Gunpowder Milkshake.
Oh God, was
She
she like the
was-
little girl in there?
She was, young Sam in it. I
Oh,
completely
so she's
forgot
a
about her
flashback of the
until
main character.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Completely
oh my
forgot
God.
about it. Obviously, she's,
Forgot about that
uh,
movie there for a
Yeah.
second.
She was a youngin in it as well.
Yeah,
Even like
yeah.
first season of Witcher, if you like look at just
Yes.
like screenshots from then, it's like, man, she looked like a baby.
Yeah.
It's crazy how quickly young actresses and actors just age. Like the the Stranger Things effect as well with those kids.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like I like gosh, what's his name? We were talking about in the car today. What's the kid that plays Mike in Stranger Things? He's in Ghostbusters. Like
Oh
he's
God,
a
what was
band.
his name?
Oh, no one
Right.
remembers this guy's name.
No.
Fuck, not a great sign. But like, oh no, yes,
I thought I had it. What the fuck?
It's some-
Finn
it's some-
Wolfhard. There you go.
right. I don't know how you forget a name like that. That and there's other ones like that, right? Where I've seen them as a kid and they're adult and like, oh yeah, he's still a good actor. Like he's still good in Ghostbusters. Like that. Like that's fine. But this is like fuck. Like what? To me, it's like a huge leap from what she does in Witcher to this.
Superhero
It's like,
draft. She's gonna be.
No,
people are gonna be
don't
looking
think
for her.
about it. Yeah, but
I
like, for
had to
me-
say it because I knew that you had her on the list. I knew that I had her on the list, so I want to put it
no.
out there. So it's a wild card.
Kirkland's not going to get her. But no, she just impressed me a lot when we've talked about this before. Sometimes the human characters can bring down a movie. And for me, did not
Yeah.
do that. So bravo to her. So, and I hope to, like I said, I think you'll see her in a bunch of stuff now after this. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a man, you unloaded a lot there. I meant to
did.
jump in a
I was
couple
going
times. You said Taylor
cocaine.
Heston. I thought that was kind of funny. You
yeah,
just
I was trying
combined
because
Charlton
anytime I
Heston.
say Taylor, I just feel like Taylor looks up. It's like, what am I doing? Am I asleep?
You
And like,
did
no,
it.
I'm just talking about
I
Charlton.
do.
Yeah.
It like made me think maybe had to
Wake
look
up,
back
Taylor,
and be
you
like, did they actually
bastard.
have Heston as Taylor's last name? Like Charlton Heston is just like, yeah, you're gonna use my last name and my full name's gonna be on the title card. He just had
Field,
that
wake
power.
up, you son of a bitch.
No, but you said a lot of stuff that I completely agreed with there. Just more so like the flooding of the base has to happen, not
Yeah.
just for the survival of the humans, but also just like the Eagle Clan, or sorry, not just the Eagle Clan, but other factions of apes out there. Like Proximus is going to take over the whole fucking globe if he has access to just what's in this bunker with the potential of what it is. Now, I think it would have probably taken them a lot of time to really figure out how it all works. Probably just to turn on the power would have taken some time, but just apes with guns, like we've seen it in all the old Apes
Yeah.
movies. That's definitely what would have been happening. And they had these shock sticks that were pretty effective for the most part. I mean, clearly, like he was building up a kingdom with just the weaponry that they had. But if they just got these fucking the C-58 or whatever the hell they're rocking, the C-52, whatever your gun was from Warzone, Travis. I'm trying to remember.
Oh
but,
yeah, who knows?
that would have been dangerous for not just the humans, but everyone out there that's not a part of the kingdom of Proximus. So
Yeah.
I think that this fucking bastard. I think. I can't focus. I think that was a really good, just like it must be done from our human character there and our human character. I think they did a really good job at. Now I'm even more nervous. Travis is fucking with the camera. for
No,
all
that's
audio
Taylor.
listeners
He's
that are,
pretending he's talking.
not paying
No,
attention.
no.
Look at the reflection of his Jurassic poster. It looks like the deer meme.
Madison's there with her deer
The
headdress.
flashlight. Yeah, no, they did such a great job at really making it seem like May was the sketchy figure, and like not just because we're humans watching this movie, we should be rooting for her from the get-go. And I think that's what they succeeded so well in like the first act, is just like establishing our heroes for the film, right? Like Noah and his clan. Like they do such a good job at showing just like the bond that the factions share, him and his friends, and just it makes us want to root for him. Like when his egg gets crushed early on, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It felt like a miscarriage, right? Like it had that effect. And
I won't go that far.
how he's carrying this little egg, and she just like crushes him in the belly. It just like
That's just, like,
liquefies
that-
everywhere.
That's just like some
Super minor, I guess, not as extreme, but like
the worst thing that's gonna happen is like he's not gonna get a badge like you're a sheriff now. A miscarriage is like it's not like his child he's losing. It's
it
not
felt like it though, and I think that's what they were trying to go for. At least that's how I took it. Might be a bit of a hyperbole, but yes. So, but no, they did such a great job at setting that up, and I was really curious how the whole I guess May character was gonna be like in the trailers. I think it was just like, oh, here we go. This is gonna be another Nova, and how is this gonna work out? I really wasn't expecting her to be able to speak or anything like that. So that was
Really?
that was a nice moment, I think.
Oh, I guess you weren't on the cat. You missed that cast when we did a trailer breakdown. Right, that was the Super Bowl one that we
There you go. You
realized
thought I
last
was
night.
on, yeah.
Yeah, because Taylor had a good theory, and he had me going the whole time thinking that was what was happening. But yeah, he had the theory that it was an astronaut. They were doing a remake of the original Planet of the Apes, and not like a full remake, but the idea of, because if it's a new timeline, and in the sense of, you know, when Charlton Heston and his crew go down, there's that girl that's glass broken, and it's her. In this timeline, it'd be the reverse, where maybe
Okay.
yeah. So that's why I always thought she was going to talk, because Taylor did bring up some good points as we went along too, is because when you looked at her clothes, they were much more modern than, because in the trailer they show a couple of those cave-in people. With her, it was modern. So I was on that bandwagon. I thought Taylor was completely right that she is an astronaut that's come back and landed, and now we're retelling this, but it wasn't that. And it's a whole, it's a play on something old, where it is, okay, there's people down below, which did happen in Planet of the Apes, but this is like the realistic take on it. We talked about how like there's like good ideas to that, but the idea of they went down below and became like fucking mutant with mega mind heads and superpowers, that's not the route they should have went. To me, this is taking, hey, what's something from that original franchise that we could play off of, much like Rise was the Conquest, you know, like, but how can we do it like a little bit better? And to me, this is absolutely it. Like, I could believe that, especially nowadays, we always hear about people making like Doomsday and Fallout bunkers, all this stuff. I could believe. Now, did it happen a little fast, and how does it all work for this is like 400 years later? I don't know, but I'm completely fine to suspend disbelief and wait till a sequel. But I think that's like something that the franchise, if they've touched upon it, they haven't touched upon it in a good way. It's much like Venom, right? Where it's like, yeah, sure, we have a Venom, we have two Venoms, but it's like, I don't feel satisfied in what I got in Venom. So yeah, if we ever get a Venom in the MCU, I'm sure somebody, oh, it's just Venom again. But if it's done well, I'll go, oh, this is great. So in Beneath and for Battle, because remember, they had people hiding out with their buses and stuff. We got that thing. But to me, none of those versions were good or fleshed out. This is something potential. These people been there for years. They're like doxing the suits. They're cleaning them. Like they have this whole this whole protocol they center out. So like for me, this is new territory for the Apes franchise of like using something that is old, but giving it a fresh coat of paint. And that's what I'm very excited to see. And I think there, of course, there's similar elements and themes that could play, but that's what I like about now that she's not the astronaut. And I think that still gives us chance for some movie ending with a fucking spaceship coming down. I don't think we need that. As I've said before, I think that'd be a great way to end it, and then you never answer, because I think if you fully remake Planet of the Apes, you get into really tricky territory. So I think it's just good to leave it where it is and just keep doing your own thing.
I was gonna mention about the spacecraft, but Taylor hasn't really talked in a little bit.
I totally thought this was a spaceship scenario here, and she was an astronaut. So I love the idea that we're not there yet, and they're saving it for later on. And they really capped this out, of course, by focusing on like satellites and communication. But to me, it just felt like, man, space and spaceships, like,
Yeah, especially because like there was when they found the fucking scope at the beginning, and there's so much space stuff in here. I'm like, oh, she's gotta be. But it was kind of a good freak out, or fake out.
it was a good fake out. So I think that the whole, them kind of showing her being from a new colony underground, I really like that, and seeing how many of them are still alive, and they're playing it extra safe. Like that simian flu is nowhere, like anywhere touching them. They're all super isolated and safe in there. And to think that this is generations later, so these people that have survived and they're in here, who knows at what point they went down into this bunker. They probably went pretty earlier on, and they all just they're very,
Fucking
very well
for hundreds of years,
educated.
too.
Well, yeah, but they're very well educated, and they're probably really filled with hate towards the apes.
Yeah.
Especially because you see that present in May when she's talking about how these things that are here are not meant to be for you. They're our things.
Yeah.
And again, it just shows humankind and that greediness and that
Makes
just
you want to
that-
betray your own race, hearing that.
They
stuff.
Yeah.
said some character said that in this movie.
I know,
didn't they?
yeah.
can't
I
remember
meant
which
to
one.
make that as my nickname, but I forgot.
But it was, someone dropped the betray your own race thing. So
I just think that you mentioned a few things there, Travis, that are pretty spot on. Like if you're seeing this from May's point of view, which you get that Heston perspective where you're on their side, you see it from what they're going through. But then in this case, more so, you do see it from Noah and Noah's friends' side when it's like, man, we were just animals. Now I'm of two parts on this, because I definitely can see where her justification is on destroying the dam and flooding it. It makes total sense for the hatred that is manifested in her, and you don't want these apes, especially Proxima Caesar, to get tanks, Hummers, and weapons. Like that thing was loaded. It was really cool to see that vault decked out with all this stuff. It was really neat. So,
Man, first thought, I'm like, that's a war zone location. That's where you're
Absolutely.
dropping.
definitely.
final
Get the key
close.
cards. Yeah.
Get in
Absolutely.
there. Yeah.
So I understand her justification for destroying the dam and flooding it. I just it sucks because I'm totally on the ape side. I think for the most
You're on
part,
Proximus' side.
He's
No.
portraying his own race.
yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, kill all the
Yeah.
humans. Just have a spot. He wants to be Woody Harrelson. You
He
know
wants
what?
to be
Taylor
Woody
would
Harrelson,
want.
100%.
Taylor would be Woody Harrelson, and it's like the whole way he acted
Or
too. That
not
would
Woody
be Taylor.
Harrelson.
Oh fuck,
William
H.
H. Macy. Yeah.
People are thinking, man,
take
Taylor's
Woody
fucked up
Harrelson.
in real life.
I'll take Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, you want to be him from War, the guy that's shooting his son? That's what we're thinking. That any new listeners are like, man, they think he's like Woody Harrelson from War. Oh my god, no, William H Macy. That's completely what Taylor would end up like.
I wouldn't like. I would love to live with the apes, but definitely not with Proxima Caesar.
Oh, you'd
I-
get along.
Handy,
You'd get along.
Proximus.
Yeah,
No, I
you'd get
wouldn't be
along.
content with it.
You'd
I
be
would
telling
much
about
rather be
Call of
flying
Duty.
eagles.
You would be, especially just like the Bigfoot comparisons. You'd be asking about some distant relatives of his potential.
Well, the humans at first felt like Bigfoot and cryptids. I was digging at looking at footprints and stuff, but the idea here that like I definitely agree with Noah that they have a right to this planet. I think that humanity fucked up. Humanity had their time, and whether you want to call it natural selection, Mother Nature, however you want to put
Taylor,
it,
no.
they have been backed into a corner where it's just their time is over, and this is now the time of the apes, and that's one of the best things too that
That's what the next movie's gonna be called. Time of the Planet of the
time of the
Apes.
Planet of the Apes. I think it's really awesome too from the human point here. Now it shows how dedicated and just unyielding humanity is, and I think that's a very accurate thing, especially in human history when you look at it, because humans I feel like should have died out thousands of years ago with how many things could actually have killed us and eliminated us, but humans persevere, we adapt, we're one of the most adaptable species on the planet, and we don't quit. We just keep going and going and unyielding, and it's incredible. And so absolutely. So when you see humans in this context, it's been multiple generations and they're just still pressing on, continuing, and they're activating satellites. Like they're not stopping, even though it's like, how can you not accept defeat in this most defeated of times? They just don't. And so I think this is really going to set up a very dangerous sequel where these humans are going to be very, very aggressive, much more aggressive than what we've seen before. and these humans aren't necessarily dealing with Woody Harrelson's character. He was dealing with another military group that was against his beliefs, and so they were
doing
conflicting
a
against
lot.
each other. So now you have humans here that are all going to be able to coordinate tactically with each other, and who knows what the fallout is going to be from this result of them being able to communicate with each other. I'm very interested to see that. Are they going to go up to the surface? I don't know, but I think that we're really going to get something really compelling in a sequel where what I thought the last light of humanity was snuffed out in War of the Planet of the Apes. We still
Well, there's lots
have.
of humans around. They're just fucking dummies now, right? We got the whole chase scene, like, and that's where I thought it was the astronaut, because like, oh, they're kind of remaking that scene right there again, right? Like, if you look at that scene, it's different because she finds the apes, but it's her with a bunch of humans. They're getting the nets. She's outsmarting them, so it was kind of remaking. You hear minor notes of the horn, and like you get it a little bit. So I liked that, but that's what I'm curious about, where they do that, but then I feel like I don't know what the timeline was, but she was exposed for at least a couple days, right, to this. So that's where it's like she was exposed to the apes, she was exposed to those other humans. Is this a thing now where, is there anything down below that they have as like a deterrent to get that happen? They're still spraying the clothes down, so clearly not. Why would she not come back and then be affected, right? If it's kind of like we've been in this perfect capsule and then you go out there, I feel like even less so, like you'd have none of these antibodies to be out. Like if she's what, 20, even then she's been 20 years old locked in this just like fallout shelter, like
Right. Yeah, you'd have your immune system would be
yeah.
fucking
So I feel like they gotta have
fresh and-
something down there, right, to maybe counteract some of this stuff. So
Well, you'll have to remind me here. Weren't there like a selection of humans that were just were immune for whatever reason?
it's tough because we thought that, but then at the end of War, like we meet that big army, right? But in Woody Harrelson's camp, like he got sick. Like it felt like it insinuated like no matter what, eventually you're gonna get sick. Even if you're fine right now, eventually it's gonna turn on you.
It's gonna be
You
the start
know.
of the next film. It's like somehow May just died. And
Yeah.
then she died off screen, exactly like Malcolm.
Yeah,
That's your
somebody
biggest
will
fear.
mention it in a deleted scene.
Here's
you know?
here's an interesting analogy here that someone wrote. So the simian flu has probably wiped itself out since it's been 300 years. So since it's not a real virus, humans don't know how it works. So with COVID, for example, the virus can have a lasting impact on a person even after they are no longer infectious. With the simian flu, it would have altered all the apes and humans that were initially infected, and then those traits were passed on to subsequent generations without needing to be directly infected. So the virus itself would be gone, and no one else would catch it. So it would
So as long
spread
as-
throughout. They outweighted it basically, and so it's just genetically, inherently passed on, hereditarily passed forward.
Yeah, and
now.
the apes are fine because it's fine with their antibodies, and as long as you don't like fuck one of those caveman people, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Well, you
I bet
might
someone
actually.
did. I bet
I
someone
mean,
did.
if you sleep with one of the caveman people, I mean, you might actually turn it around.
They just
How
get
so?
smart. Fuck me.
Yeah, they might have a
smart.
smart kid.
No, but I mean, wouldn't those people be carrying some sort of version of that flu, like it's in their body, right? Like when it kind of
They would be
like an
affected. They would be
AIDS?
affected by it, but no, it's not like a sexually transmitted disease.
It's in the cum.
I just meant in blood. I don't mean specifically sex. I just mean like because you can still get AIDS without having sex. Like if blood and blood connects, like because you're saying like the flu died out, but it's like that there's still things that affect those humans, or is it just like it's just because I guess it's like caveman, right? They probably are getting it on, procreating. Is it just that flu settles in? But then, like, let's say the two people that like lose their voice and they're starting to be dumb. I guess they have.
I would
sex
say
and get it on.
it's a
Their child.
mutation because it's at this point it was an infection and it infected people, and then after that it was just a mutation. So it's not infecting people.
But a
It's just
non-spreadable mutation then.
it's just turned into a mutation. I mean, with no new host to infect, it's gonna die itself out, and then the people that are still alive are just gonna be like procreating and whatnot, and that's just gonna be an inherent hereditary mutation that just exists, but not an infectious one, right? So
So then, how do you think they're gonna determine the humans can go out and fight? Because I don't think they're gonna have all these actors in fucking like plastic masks for all these.
no, and
movies,
that's where they could totally change the lore and the story. And they could be like, "Oh, the simian flu's evolved again." Like, I mean, they could write whatever they want. So,
Well, I hope they wouldn't write it that way. They should make it gone so the humans can go out there without the.
I
masks, or-
totally agree. I think so.
But then
Absolutely.
what's the point of all the precautions, right, of this film? Like,
They don't know, and I think that's the kicker. I mean,
better
this could be
safe
the
than
first.
sorry, I guess. Yeah.
This this could be the first time they've come out for a long time. And even the way that May was talking to Macy's character, I really like that, because she's calling him out like, I'm not the one helping the apes. And he didn't know where she was from, but it seemed almost like she was aware of what place he came from. And she had this pre-existing vibe that she knew he was there, knew he was helping, or something like that. Just this disappointment. And I'm curious to know where that stems from. How did she know that the apes had a talking human? Because I feel like talking humans are not, I mean, they're not everywhere, so I feel like if you're gonna know if one's around.
Well, yeah, I guess, because I was gonna say, how did that happen? But I guess what you'd insinuate that he had left that bunker and he was out there and stuff. Because if he didn't get affected, that wouldn't make much sense. Because he couldn't have just lived out, like, no one in our theory, he couldn't have lived out there without being in the bunker at all.
Yeah, maybe that's a missed potential on that character, right? That we would have gotten a little bit of something out of that. Like, she did know him because of that, found out that someone had left, or maybe it's just insinuated that there is other smart factions of humans are out there that aren't just the one camp, right? Because we have the underground bunker, like basically the comms array that everybody's working at, that May goes to at the end. But she also says that Proximus like raided her camp, so that would have been not that location, clearly, because they're still there. So there's probably more of them out there, but it also just seems like a 1 in a million thing that they have humans that talk. So it's just something that was kind of glossed over in the movie with the William H. Macy character that we don't really have enough time to really fill him in there. But I mean, he gets murked so quickly that it doesn't really, at least for me, like I don't know, it doesn't really. It's not something I was thinking about while watching it. It was just like, okay, they have a human that talks.
It feels like in a video game when you talk to somebody that's offering you a side quest and you accept it, and then you play 40 to 50 hours of that video game. Like, oh, right, there's that guy that needed me to find a shoe, but I never really did that. And you come back and he's like dead. You're like, oh, I guess that's what happened to him. You know, like, it just feels like kind of I think it does more for May's character than it does for the movie or the apes. So I don't think it's pointless, but I think there's more that could have been done, especially if you got a good actor like William H. Macy. So it's not like, oh, we got somebody and yet. So,
yeah.
Let's take our second ad break and we'll keep talking about Kingdoms. We'll be right back. And we're back.
I wanted to, because I mentioned the whole space thing. Well, when Travis was talking about it before I threw it to Taylor, because I'm a nice guy, I wanted to let him speak. But you're saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so maybe I'll ask you. Were you saying that you're like excited when they're looking at the stars, at the potential of a spacecraft coming, or like what that means, or?
No, I just thought that was them like setting us up, like her
for a spacecraft though, like specifically.
Yes and no, because remember, when he finds that May's with him and they both look right, so I thought it was almost just her still like trying to figure out like fuck, like if I at that moment thinking she's like Heston, right? She's landed here and she's looking at the stars like, oh, I'm so fucked. Like, I can't get back. And that's what I thought I said to Taylor Carr after the movie, the whole red chip thing. Up until she got to that base and knocked that door, I thought, oh, this could just be, like, it never makes sense. But Mark Wahlberg, what does he want to do? He wants to get in the ship and gets back. What does Heston want to do? He wants to get in the ship, gets back. What do Cornelius and Zira do? They get in the ship and they go to Earth. Like, these characters are always obsessed with, well, let's get in the spaceship and get back home. So I thought that red thing, when she's riding the horse at the end, and especially because the area was starting to look more desert-like, I thought it was going to look like the first Apes movie when they crash in the water. I thought it was going to go over the hill and you'd see a ship and you go, oh, shit. And that's where I thought you could have her fly away and you never have to answer what this character's like. She could go, and that's the answer, right? Of, well, she left and went back in time, or what? Or maybe she's seen Abraham Lincoln, you know, and she ends up with Mark Wahlberg. Like, oh, fuck, it happened to you too. So I just thought it was like setting us up, like, oh, so when it's revealed she's a space woman, like her looking at the stars, there's some meaning there. But no, it was just a bonding moment between the two. So that's all I thought. But it's completely gone now. I think it's just a bonding moment, and him to realize that she's like cognizant. She's not an idiot. She can she recognizes what's happening. So
then fast forwarding to the end, like the significance of them looking out in space, right? Like Noah and Suna, I think was her name. Like, and them just communicating. It's not so much for the spacecraft aspect. It's more so just
Satellites.
Realizing the vastness
Like
of
at
the
the
world.
end?
Like for the humans, I get it because they're communicating with each other. That's a big moment. They have the satellites that are communicating, but we have Noah and Suna, right? Like at the observation tower.
Oh, he's just trying to bang her, so he just wants to
Okay,
say, like,
fair enough.
look
It
at
just-
look at these cool stars.
It seemed like emphasis on the stars, and that's where I'm
It
just
could
like,
be.
what are they trying to do here, though? Like, if someone is coming from space, why does that matter to this story at all? If Charlton Heston is out there and he's coming back, what does that do for this story? Absolutely nothing, because nobody has any tie to Charlton Heston anymore because it's like 400 years later.
Yeah, but if you were to follow that same continuity, I think it's more so them looking out into the story. If I'm trying to get on that level, it's almost like what Heston represents. It's now Noah really realizing, not that they're not alone, because they know they're not alone, but just like man, did we have it wrong? Like there was things greater out there. So it's like looking at the stars and you go, hey, that's out there. And you know they're out there, but you don't really understand them. I feel like that's how he feels about the humans now, where he's grown up his whole life with this idea of what humans, aka echoes, are now, right? And now his mind has been expanded when he meets May.
Okay.
Now they know about there's other humans out there. So I don't think Heston will. I don't know, because Taylor said something about being excited. I don't think they actually will ever do the Heston thing, because I think that's risky. But even if they did, technically, if we got to that would be like the apes win and they take over, right? So that would be the significance of you do that again. But they're doing the storyline here. They're doing the Heston storyline with her of, you apes don't understand, you were in cages and we ruled you. So that's why I
Yeah.
don't think they'd ever do it. It would just be happening to another set of characters. So
If Heston comes back, it's literally just the Mark Wahlberg ending, essentially, right? I guess by that point, Mark Wahlberg's apes were more advanced, like they were kind of where we're at right now.
like
somewhat.
the Abraham Lincoln ones.
Yeah, the Abraham Lincoln
Yeah.
apes.
Yeah. Well, no, and I don't think it would be Heston coming back. I think in my mind, if you ever line up, it's just that, let's say technically that the humans come up and the apes are there, the apes win the war, and they go more like Proximus' route, and they just become like savage apes and they kill all humans. That's like, I think Heston, if he were to come, it's still not for like another 400 years. But hopefully this is like a sign where it's like battle, where it's like, oh, they find a way to coexist. I feel like that should be the ending of this trilogy. I feel like you got the next one that's really war torn, and the sixth movie that should be the apes and humans coming together, and then I think Planet of the Apes can like rest for like 20 to 15 years, because then it's like, okay, what more can you do? You know, because technically they already did the human and apes coexist, but like, let's be honest, Battle for the Apes wasn't a great movie, right? So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
well, we could do that better. So I feel like that has to be the end point. And then once you do that, I don't really know where you go. I think they got two more out of this, and then I don't know what else you could do with apes other than remaking the original. I think that is
Yeah,
that's a tightrope.
it's funny too because
Planet of the Deers, maybe. Do Planet of the Deers. Do a different animal. See what
please,
happens.
Planet of the Deers with flashlights.
There, guys.
Yeah,
I'm a friendly dude.
Planet
Don't
of the-
worry.
Rise of the Planet of the Deers with the flashlights.
Yeah,
That'll be
exactly,
the
yeah.
title. Early on, before we get revealed of kind of more so what's going on with the humans, when we have Nova, May, that can speak.
We
I
all
thought
call him Nova.
like it almost seemed like we were going a route of like Rise of the Humans of the Planet of the Apes, right? Where like they're kind of reversing like the evolution, where they're like getting smarter again. It's just kind of how it seemed it was going, because she seems pretty savage, right? Like she's scavenging for food, and like she's all dirty. She's looking for just warmth or whatever. She's not really talking. So it just seems like she is an echo, right? Obviously later, like, and the moment in the field too, that was shown in the trailer, I thought that was fantastic. When she speaks for the first time, calls out to Noah, I thought that was
Yeah.
really done, or really well done scene.
Good flashback to kind of Caesar, right? Where it's, not him saying no, but it is funny because she's saying Noah.
I
But like,
thought she said no at first too, and then
no, Noah, no. But it is kind of harking back to that, right? Where, and even Heston, him speaking, like I like that. Anytime someone speaks, it's like when it's a character that we don't know, it's like
Yeah.
it's used to be a big moment,
well, it's a sign of intelligence, right? And
Yeah.
like for these characters supposed to be simpletons.
But it's never not just like, oh, like here's a town, she's saying thank you, and then it's like, oh, that's it. Like it's this big moment where you can tell she doesn't want to talk because she doesn't want to play that card, but you kind of have to, because not Aldo is right there about to just
Yeah.
destroy you. And we
Not
saw a lot
Aldo.
of the we saw a lot of those fist forearm attacks from the apes and chimpanzees in this movie, and gorillas. So
Yeah, it's a vicious move.
R.I.P. to Noah's dad, who that's what took him out. So
That's not really what took him out, though, right? Like he got beaten on.
Well, we
And
never
then-
saw actually, right? Like because we just saw him
Okay,
cut
yeah.
Noah's rope and he went down. But the last thing we saw of him, he was getting the fucking elbow strikes, and he ain't surviving. He probably just left him there to bleed out, you know.
I assume he just tossed him off the tower because he was on the ground, right? Or I guess the tower would have burnt down anyways. So
No, he's just there all night. He's just pounding him into
Yeah.
dust.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of the dad too, I thought that was a really intense moment of the showdown between not Aldo and the father and the Son and the Holy Ghost and that whole Trinity. But no, I thought it was a really touching moments of him like burying his dad and just that whole defeatedness that he kind of carries with him the whole film, and just feeling like he's not worthy to like basically avenge his father, and the whole thing with the bird. I just thought all of that was like 10 out of 10. I absolutely love that whole sequence, and yeah, just the whole evolution of Noah in this film. I thought that was fantastic. So yeah, evolution. So yeah, I said it before, I said it during, I'm gonna say it again. I think Noah is just such a great character, and they did really, really good job. It's difficult, right, to have Caesar for the first many films and then coming to this with a brand new one, but I think they really pulled it off with Noah, and great performance all around. It's mocap, but he still did fantastic. So yeah.
I really love Noah. I love the journey and development that this character had, and really just kind of growing and becoming a leader and learning the reality and the truths behind their history, and his relationship with Raka, the orangutan. Raka was my favorite. I love the orangutans in these movies so much. Maurice and Raka. Raka was
Dr.
fantastic. Zayas is a character, that's for sure.
Shout out to Dr. Zayas.
Shout out to Dr. Zayas. There's something very interesting with Noah, and I've been kind of like convinced about this. I'm gonna share something with you because some people pointed it out.
It's just him with the flashlight in the
Taylor's
doorway.
dick pics.
So here's Noah, or sorry, this is
No, that's Caesar on the
that's
Golden
Caesar.
Gate Bridge,
Yeah,
you
that's Caesar.
bastard.
So yeah, you see Caesar with
He's
this
lying to
mark
us
right
already.
here.
Yep.
Okay, let me find a picture of Noah, because Noah has the same mark going on his chest.
Let's see.
And people are thinking,
Show me that bigger one. No, show me the one with the bird, Taylor. Not this close-up one, because that could be just shadow.
people are
His
saying
boob?
that this is there's a part on his chest that's got a lesser amount of hair. Here's another one here. This
called a
birthmark.
nipple, Taylor.
You can see that. Well, that's too high for a nipple. But Caesar's got the same mark in the same
Is that because
general
he was
area.
shot
Season.
by what's his face in that spot, or was it not that spot that he got shot?
He's got some gray there.
Here's another shot of Caesar there with that mark there. So
This is a little less defined, but yeah, he could be a descendant. You know, the first act of this movie is the same. Again, back to war. He has the exact same storyline Caesar does with avenging a dead one, and he's very mopey about it
out
and
of
stuff.
all of them, he looks the closest to Caesar too, which I don't think is. I mean, all the other like apes in his colony are all very different looking from Caesar, and I just feel like they're setting it up that maybe he is a descendant, and he'll learn that later on. And if you're wondering why didn't they know that who Caesar was, I saw people propose the theory that maybe that his clan was, or his ancestors were exiled because shit started to go really, really sour. It's like, okay, we got to get out of here because there's Proximus Caesar's rising up. Who knows? There's could be some group that's taking over and it's getting bad.
Yeah.
So they
I don't-
decide just to bounce.
I don't have a problem with that. Like, to me, like it being 400 years. If it was maybe 100, say yeah, that's a lot. But 400 years, like lots can fucking change. So, like I that's never a problem to me. Like, oh, why don't they know who Caesar is? It's like, fuck, like there's celebrities from like 50 years ago people wouldn't be able to name, you know. And I know Caesar's like a big deal, but it's just like people break off, they split up, like, and then there's a clan over there like to the exact opposite, right? Of Proximus, they're all about Caesar. It's a like not the real Caesar, because like Caesar wouldn't be just be going to camps fucking killing other apes. So like that's to me one of the best moments is when you get one of the big guys in the mask, he kills someone, and his first line is for Caesar, and it's like that's like this is the exact opposite. Like that's what I love about it, right? Is because they've taken that, but I could believe that. I could, and that's fine. I don't think you need that. I thought it was a 10 out of 10 fantastic opening, like starting at war immediately from him dying. you know, to like the
Yeah,
flowers,
no,
to the
100%.
fire. We're seeing Rocket. We're seeing Maurice.
You got Maurice, yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing poor Caesar's son just fucking gonna have PTSD the rest of his life. He just looks up to see his dad on fire. So I'm sure that was great. But no, I love because that was like not to be like not a pun, but it was like a literal passing of the torch moment to like the next generation. So I thought that was good. Like, hey, this is like it is a sequel, but it's not. This is stuff important, but you don't also need to be beholden where you won't understand if you haven't seen them. I thought it was like just a fit because I feel like you could watch that opening and still understand the rest of the movie. And also, if you had never seen any of them but this one, they don't tell you what Caesar would have thought, so you could still think, oh, like what would he think of the situation? So I thought that was a like perfectly well done, well executed opening.
Yeah, I think it was very important. Like, I mean, Shay came to this. She hasn't seen any of the other Planet of the Apes before, so she was confused on some minor things, but it was mostly just they talk about the legend of Caesar, and you see him at the beginning die, and it's just, well, I guess he was kind of the main of the previous movie, so they did a good job at setting up in that sense, and it's also like I feel like this movie is not a terrible one to jump into if you haven't seen any of the other ones. Like if you're jumping into war and you haven't seen the other ones,
yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. But the whole like potential tie of Noah and Caesar, I'd just rather it not. It's not a super pro or con if that is the case, but it's just like it's almost like we're getting to the Skywalker stuff. Like, why do we have to be attached to a certain bloodline? Like, why can't we just live in the world that his like the legend of him and his teachings is more important than what his blood is?
Well, I was gonna say I'm fine with being a theory, but I don't want some shit in 2 or 3 of like, oh, you were Caesar's great. Yeah, I don't need that. I'm fine with being a random 8. It's a clan. There's so many clans.
I want it.
No,
That's why you're such a
the
good
lineage.
leader. It's because you
Yeah.
were related to Caesar.
And then fucking Force
You are
goes
a
Caesar.
god.
Yeah, Force goes Caesar comes out to talk to him and stuff. Like, I like how you fucked up Proximus, you know. Like,
With William H. Macy just
Yeah.
standing there.
I wish. Well, he's on his knees because his legs don't work, right? So it's just, he's on his knees. His throat's just like collapsed in. Just like, hey. But, like, yeah.
Apparently, there was a little thing at the end of the credits with there was a sound effect that they played of an orangutan. Did you hear about this?
No, Taylor. What do they do?
Well, people are speculating that Raka is still alive.
Do you have some proof for that?
No, just that they played orangutan sounds at the end of the movie.
Kirkland,
What
was
does an
I
orangutan
wrong?
sound?
I don't know. I didn't stay that long. So
Yeah,
know what it
Travis
sounds
fucking
like.
lied to us. Like,
But
but
Rock-
credit scene, we're out of here.
I said
Raka was the
orangutan.
only orangutan in the movie, so that's why people think like maybe there's a catch here or something.
Kirkland, did you think he was setting us up for something? Because to me, the way his cadence, that sounded exactly like, oh, I got the first photo of Michael Keaton's Batman right here. Like his cadence, I thought he's like, oh yeah, they heard something in the credits. Like I thought it was gonna be like the fucking like armor for Iron Man or like just the way he was sounding. I was like, oh, I don't believe this.
Spaceship
fucker for a
sounds.
second. Yeah,
Spaceship
Yeah.
sounds. Charlton Heston's laugh right at the end of the credits. Yeah.
You damn fucking ape. I'm gonna. You're telling me there's a whole camp of women
They're
underground?
all Nova.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck all the Novas. Nova sandwich. Light my cigar, you fucking monkey. He would have kicked the shit out of William H. Macy's character.
Oh,
man.
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
would've
And he would have been
been
like 8 feet tall over him, right? Just
Have you met
grab
my
his head.
bitch, the legless wonder?
This is him grabbing
Yeah.
Macy's character.
100%.
Just tossing
Man,
him.
when we're talking about Dave Cornswood, fucking Heston should have played Superman. Look how big Heston is. My God. But
In another world.
one thing I want to say, because I don't have my notes, a con for me, I can kind of get there. I'll stew on it because Taylor was like, yeah, gorillas are dumb. So I'm fine with it. I did not enjoy that. All the vault goes down. This is a moment where all the bad apes, you can debate if they're bad. Proximus team, Noah's team, they all decide, we're fucking getting out of here. We can't swim. We're going to be drowned. Let's go. They're about to go up. Fucking not Aldo sees him. Oh, and he has to have a fight scene. For me, it just didn't work. I guess you can try and do the whole gorillas are dumb, but it's like I just didn't think he was dumb enough to. He's gonna kill himself and Noah to get and here's the other thing too, because I agree that like Matt said, oh, we just didn't like him. I get that, but I needed more. Like I needed to see this gorilla really fucking hate Noah, or Noah to embarrass him, or do something. Like I just didn't think the hatred was really there. Like for me, I could believe in the last movie Woody Harrelson or Caesar. Like Caesar did, right? Caesar stayed back multiple times to kill himself, pretty much to get Woody Harrelson. I believed everything and bought why he would do that. I wouldn't buy why this gorilla would be like to just throw his life away. Like, I gotta take this guy down. I'm fine with the fight scene if they get up to the mountain, but to me, and like, there's like a fun set piece that's cool, but that took me out of it. That was something in the end or the third act where it's like, they just wanted another fight scene, and I don't think it was needed. It took down my experience. So maybe over time I'll simmer on it and I'll see how it feels. But in the moment, it didn't feel natural. Or like, here, I'll fucking praise it. Look at Avatar 2. World's going to shit, but I can believe why those two want to fight, right? Cordage's clone and what's his name? Sam Worthington, like, one killed his son, one killed him. I buy the stakes completely of, hey, these guys might drown where they're fighting, but it's like, this is it. They got to kill each other. I completely buy the stakes. So there's a praise for Avatar 2. Didn't buy it here, unfortunately. So
I think like you just have orangutans at the top, and then you have these apes second, and then you have the gorillas last. And I think it just fits with the trajectory of how they've been displayed.
Is that what you're talking
Intelligence, yeah. And I think it fits with how the gorillas have been portrayed in all the other apes films, especially because the gorillas are always just like, oh, let's go fight, let's go to war. Like we saw with Aldo was the worst of them, just being so like
Aldo,
fight.
No.
So I think it just goes to show like
power.
this
Power
guy's he's rage filled. He just wants to fuck this guy up. This guy, like, he knows who Noah is. Noah kicked his ass a few times, has pissed him off. So at this point,
it's like a read. She outsmarted him and he didn't kick his ass.
I'd say that he kicked his ass.
And
outsmarting him kicks his ass.
Noah's standing over him like, I am the fucking king chimp. And this
he had him dragging on his horse and like kicked him into the ground. So I'd say he kicked his ass a few times pretty well.
Kicked
his
like,
face.
That'd be like some bully grabs your bike tail and you kick him off. And you came back, yeah, I fucking, that bully, I kicked his ass.
You kicked him down.
You got away. You kicked him. You kicked him. You didn't kick his ass. Kick his ass is you
Kick the
like
shit out of him.
Yeah, kick the ass like the gorilla saying no more. That didn't happen. I just didn't buy they had a blood.
He
food
won.
feud.
He one-upped him then a few times with his smartness. But I think that's enough for how the gorillas are portrayed to definitely be pissed off. There's no Lucas, that's for sure. Luca was a gem.
So we'll ask because I don't want to forget where are baboons in all this? Because I made the ass joke, but how come we got no baboons in these movies?
Good question. I think it's just they're trying to stick to the original Planet of the Apes, and the Planet of the Apes just had chimps, orangutans,
Prediction.
gorillas, right? We didn't even have monkeys.
We have the bonobos though. That's what Proxima Caesar was.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a prediction. In 5 or
Really?
6, we're gonna get a baboon. In 5 or 6, we're gonna get a baboon because you got to do some new
Spaceship
fucking,
lands. It's
Hey,
fucking Rafiki.
You could put Rafiki in there, man. They own the rights. Disney, they own.
That's right.
You could get the one that I've seen the most is what I really want is, let's say they're looking up the stars, ship crashes, and you're like, oh fuck, they're remaking Planet of the Apes. Here we go, Charlton Heston. And I'm painting you the teaser. Imagine this: the ship. It's apes. You see a ship crashing. Noah's watching it crash. You're like, oh fuck, they're doing apes. Cockpit breaks and stuff. Like, oh, here we go. Who did they recast? Get Heston. Thing stands up and it's a fucking predator, and that's the one I'm definitely with. Like people saying,
oh man,
because they own the rights. Imagine doing a movie where the predator lands on the fucking apes planet. Fuck, give me all. Fuck, man, I want to see the
thinks
apes.
the humans are still there. Like what the fuck?
He just kills those bunker humans. Like and not even canon. Just give me a prey-like movie, but they're apes.
That's
and
pretty
the versus
awesome,
predator.
actually.
I fucking want that so bad.
Because at first I'm like, well, the predator's just gonna fuck up the apes. Like any gunshot is just gonna kill the apes. But man, like they're good in the trees. And
Oh, yeah, they're fast.
They're crafty, especially
Yeah.
if they got the simian intelligence, right? From the simian flu.
4 hands.
4 hands, exactly. A lot of grabbing. Potential. Just to comment on the not Aldo death sequence. I was definitely like. I mean, I feel like I'm mostly with you, Travis. It seems a pretty unnecessary thing to play devil's advocate. I would say that he's probably not so much just dumb to do that. It's more so he's just like pure loyal to Proximus, and this is Proximus's main threat right now. So it doesn't matter about my life. I'm gonna take out Proximus's main threat, and then he can, win the war after this. So I feel like that's my way to kind of allow like the acceptance of that, but no, you're right. It seemed pretty unnecessary. Like it seemed like he could just kick the shit out of Noah, once he makes it to the top, right? Or maybe gorillas just aren't really good climbers, and like he knew that he wasn't going to be able to get out of there. I don't know. I've never seen a gorilla climb a tree before. I don't think so. Maybe that's the thing.
I'm taking you down with me. If I'm gonna die, you're gonna die. You know. So
Yeah, exactly.
And again, it wasn't a big
Drink up, me
combat.
hearties, yo ho.
There was a moment that sounded very when he was leaving. Yeah, when he left his clan spot, it sounded like Kirkland
said it
mentioned
to you,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, "You're fucking right." That sounded like Hans Zimmer was getting that orchestra ready. Drink up, apes, mijo. Yeah, and like I said, it's probably just because like we say that, right? When things are great, there's some things you kind of let slide. You go, I didn't like that, but whatever. But when I was already like had some issues with the third act, and then this happened, I was like, okay. And same thing, I was really worried about the fight with Proxima, and eventually the apes turned against them. But I was like, I don't buy that they're just gonna. Because at first I thought it was just gonna be Noah. He's getting his ass kicked, and he's just gonna have the birds turn on him, and the crowd would cheer. But I was like, there's like fucking like 50 plus of you apes, like. Trust me, like you guys can kick the shit out of Like I wasn't buying that, but then I was happy they started to cheer and they got fired up. So I was happy it made that turn. But I was really worried they were just gonna like, well, I hope Noah makes it out. And I was like, well, I don't give a shit about any of these apes now because they're just fucking letting Noah die, you know. But no, they all turned around and yeah, those birds fucked him up. I don't think Proxima's for sure dead either because they didn't show a body. It was a long fall, but like that I think it's almost like how we said with Koba. When they talked about with 3 and we're like, yeah, that could have been cool, but you did everything you could. That's where the Proxima's like, I don't think you've done everything you could with them. I think there's more meat on the bone there with that character. And maybe I'd like to see that back. Maybe then you get close to the Dawn territory. I was going to see maybe like you have the humans and apes coming together, but Proximus fucks that up. But that's where you got to be careful with the part 5 now. Is if they're going to do something where it's like humans and apes are getting together and they break up, you can't make it be like another ape like doing a setup, right? So that's where already I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe Proximus wouldn't like, because Proximus would just force the bad ape thing. So I really don't know, but I think there's still a chance he could come back. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it was a definitive finish to him. And I mean, if he's alive, no reason Raka can't still be alive. I didn't really comment when Taylor brought that up at the end with the post-credit scene. But I was bummed that we didn't get any resolution there, at least like a confirmation of his body or he came back. I was really expecting him to come back just because he gets swept away. You know, you can say apes can't really swim, but
what confirmation of the body do you want? You want to show him on the floor like all bloated up, like
100%. Yeah,
oh
exactly.
My
like
God.
A beached whale, just fucking thousands.
Jesus, I don't want to see my man like that.
No, it just seemed like we had. Maybe I'm just so used to having like Maurice around, and like you always have that one orangutan that everybody loves with the crew, and like Maurice didn't die, you know, like at least of natural or of unnatural causes. So I don't know. I really like Raka. We didn't really talk about him too much, but like maybe I'll just transition to that right now. I thought he was fantastic. Travis, you mentioned this earlier about just the whole legend of what Caesar was. I just loved his whole lessons that he was giving to Noah here, and just the whole idea that we live in an era that not everyone actually knows who Caesar is, because the first 3 movies, everyone that's an ape knows who Caesar is because Caesar's still alive and he is like the leader of all the apes and he is the one that gave them the simian intelligence, right? Like he's the one that snuck it out of the lab. So I guess it wasn't really a sneak. It was pretty fucking bang down the doors and do it. Or was it pretty?
No, he snuck. He
pretty
snuck.
secretive, actually.
He snuck, but he snuck in the to Will Rodman's house. Remember,
right,
he had some
with the sore ass.
Yeah, and then he did the whole. Will just checked on his girlfriend's.
I think a good example here too is with War. You have Bad Ape who has no idea who Caesar is. I think that goes to show these other colonies that have formed, these other clans that have formed that have no idea who Caesar is, and that's another thing too. Caesar's clan is. They're big on like the sign language, and I like that was carried over inherently in Noah's clan, whereas Bad Ape just talks. You didn't see, I don't think you saw any signing with Proximus Caesar. He was just using Caesar's story as just his own MO.
I think he had some hand gestures just to like emphasize things, but not necessarily like how Noah would use it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's maybe it's another inherent thing that's passed down. since maybe he's a descendant. Who knows?
You love the metachlorians in his fucking blood or whatever the hell it's gonna be.
lineage. Yeah.
No, I don't got much more to add than other than you guys are right. Standout character, great. Love the chemistry. I'm kind of fine if he's dead because I feel like that's some of the best things about the Ape trilogy we talked about. That like when you lose people, you lose them. You know, like it's like Apes is sometimes, especially I'd say the modern trilogy is very depressing at times. So I like the freak out or the fake outs, but I just feel like, especially there's like a little bit of a time jump. I'm not opposed to it. I think it would have to be how it's done. I do like the character, so it wouldn't be like, oh fuck, they brought him back. But at the same time, it's like that could be good going forward for May to be like this monkey, this ape orangutan, when she's talking to humans, literally gave his life for me. And if he's alive, not that he didn't do the sacrifice, but I feel like it has that much more weight for that character now of I would be dead and you guys would not have communications with anybody if this orangutan didn't save me, if he didn't kill himself and he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do like he would have had a better shot living than her because they probably would have just put him in the camp, right? And worked and he could have busted out. But he decided to swap places with her. So that's where I think maybe I lean on the side of him staying dead. So for May, I've met apes that will kill themselves to just save me. And they can't, so in that moment in the next one, when they got a fucking firing squad on all these monkeys and May is like, should I just let them kill these monkeys? That could be something she reflects on of like, no, I can't. So that's where I lean to maybe he should stay dead for May as a character to grow.
Yeah, I think you mentioning that right now makes me think that maybe they should have had more of an emphasis in that, like on that in the movie of just May feeling grateful that Rocket did that because he did not have to do that, and that is something that he just he put someone else above him and not even someone of his own race. It is a really big thing, especially him just pretty much dying for what Caesar believed in, right? That it is potential to have humans and apes living together and being cooperative. So I loved it from Raka's side, but now that you mention that, it's like, maybe I see the movie a little bit less, so that they didn't really have a lot of emphasis on that, because I feel like initially she kind of is shocked. Obviously when Raka dies, she is like, oh my god, he's actually gone, but there's no weight where she's staying up at night because she's all tortured at the fact that Raka died because of her. But also maybe, to play my own devil's advocate in that sense, maybe it's because she has a goal. She has a set goal. She doesn't really necessarily care if apes die. She has to get this book to, air quote book, to survive, to get her race to survive.
And to an extent she doesn't, right? Because she flooded that thing knowing that apes are probably going to die, right? So maybe that's something she'll sit on. But they could refer to it. But I agree you could have done more at that. The same way, like I said, I wish they did more with Noah's dad being dead, because I felt like that was a big plot point that they didn't follow up on. But both those points, I feel like they could bring them back in the sequel, and maybe it's a Dawn situation where this just builds this set the platform, and then the sequel for this gets to be just really fucking really good, because now all the players. Not that this wasn't really good, but it's just with Dawn they didn't have to do a bunch of setup, right? You know who Caesar was, and then you knew who fucking Cobra was, right? And you knew who Rocket was, you knew these characters already. So now with these two and the other people, you'll know. So
1,000%.
Anything that we haven't covered that you guys want to cover?
I loved how this started. I love seeing the little tiny Fallout scene with our familiar characters and just them giving. I don't know if you guys highlighted this when I was.
Oh, maybe you're away. Okay, yes.
I might have had my head turned.
You did. I think you had the eyes down.
Are you talking about the Caesar epilogue?
Yeah. I love that. That was just really, really unexpected and really, really nice. So.
Do you think that we get the mocap free version where they just light the actor on fire?
Andy Serkis just
yeah. That's why he needs to direct all of them. He needs to pay for those. He needs to pay for all those medical bills. I liked his friends enough. They were fine. Noah's friends. I liked them enough.
Yeah, no, soon it was good. I really love the moment with what was his name? Anaya. The third friend. Initially, when he's super scared and he doesn't want to go, I just love the emphasis that Proximus had him under his thumb, right? And it was. I also just kind of took it that he represents the apes that are not just in the Eagle Clan, but all the apes under Proximus's control, and how you get that effect, right? Where like we have this resistance forming, but there would be ones, even though it benefit them to win that win that fight under the resistance. It's just, what if we don't win, and then he's just gonna kill us, or like punish us even further, or punish our loved ones.
The donkeys in war, right? They were the same way. The reason that's why they went with the humans, just because they didn't want to die.
Donkeys in war.
Yeah, like donkeys,
Like the
in war
gorillas.
fights. Remember the like?
Oh,
they were
right.
labeled-
Spray
Yeah,
paint
yes.
on them.
The
and
same
all that.
same
I
thing.
thought you talking
right?
about like real life war with
So,
donkeys.
yeah.
I don't know what the hell they were.
They're
going,
gonna be in the
sorry.
sequel to Planet of the Deer. They're gonna be Planet of the Donkeys, and we're just gonna
Planet of the
keep going.
Donkeys with the flashlights. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, are you a deer or are you a donkey? What are you? Coming this summer.
I really, really love the moment when just the more raucous stuff when they were going through the airport and they're just like, "What is
good
this?"
stuff.
And it's like, I don't know. I think it's just where they kind of assembled and you know, like it's just was really cool, especially through Noah's eyes to see like an image of a human, you know, like dressed up and like just like what even is this? Like this doesn't make any sense. And
It would make no sense when all you see the echoes of what you have seen them. They're dirty. They have no thoughts
Yeah.
in their outfits, and you see this like even to the Noah, it's not like he's well kept because it's like you didn't even know what a fucking suit is either. So it's not like this is like it must just be such a weird image to him. But I agree
100%,
with you. All
yeah.
that airport stuff is top tier stuff.
And like they just did such a good emphasis of like having the viewer see it through Noah's eyes and him just really being puzzled, like it is like he's seeing cavemen, you know, drive a car or something. Like it was just so perplexed. You know, shout out to Nova. I love the sequence in Raqqa. It's just like, call her Nova.
Yeah.
I was talking to, you know, Patreon Tyler earlier, and he was saying like, oh, are they gonna fucking call them Nova? Because they always call like Nova. They're just obsessed with this name. But then he drops the funny line of like, like they're all called Nova.
We
It's
don't know
something to do
why.
with Caesar.
Yeah, but we just call them that. And I love that because remember when we talked about with War and Nova, like, that's another sign that it's not the same timeline. Now you could just say, everybody gets called Nova again. So I was like, okay, they kind of bounced back a little there. So no, I thought that was a good joke.
Yeah,
Which you could clearly see in the theater who was a fan of the original Planet of the Apes and who wasn't. Because I feel like half our theater laughed and the other half was like, I don't know why is this funny, you fucking losers, you know?
Yeah,
So.
Shay didn't laugh. At all.
Yeah.
When they were doing like the tall climb to get the eggs in the early portions, man, I was just thinking of Pandora and when they're going to get their flying mounts.
Lots of Pandorisms. The finale water, like you're right with the eggs, tons of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have any other notes that I reminded myself to write down. So
I think I'm out.
Yeah, no. What I was going to say is we can just answer this quickly because I don't want to forget. Clay put a question on for the newscast, but I said I'd save it for this one, and I don't want to forget it because just in case rankings, you know how the weeks goes. We get tired, we forget stuff. I know Tim might be tired right now, but allegedly Westball's not super interested in doing the whole trilogy of Apes as he just completed another trilogy with Maze Runner. If he does not return, who would you like to see 20th Century Fox or 20th Century Studios get to co-write / direct it? I think for me, like, it's a cop-out answer, like, just to say, like, who's right for the job, but, like, none of the people that have directed Apes so far are people, like, when Matt Reeves took over, Rupert Wyatt, I didn't know who Rupert Wyatt was, I'd have to look at see what he did before Apes, but I didn't know him. And when Matt Reeves took over, he was just the Cloverfield guy. And it's like, okay, cool enough. Same thing as Wes Ball. It's like, he's the Maze Runner guy. And even for Maze Runner, like, I feel like I hear mixed things from people that go, I liked it till like, it's mid. So I guess that's all I would say is probably someone in the similar, like you look at Reeves had Cloverfield, Westball had Maze Runner, someone that has like a one film franchise, not complete franchise, but just something like something on a bigger scale. So I really don't know. Unfortunately, it's good for Jurassic World, but like if anyone, it would have been like Gareth Edwards. I think he would have been a good spot. Like he would have been someone, because if you say it to co-write and co-direct, who knows? Because like Rogue One, I don't think was the strongest for its emotions, but I liked Creator, and I think it had some good emotions, and I think even Creator is dealing with some of those issues, right? Of like AI and human, but you could swap some of that with the ape and stuff. So that's who I would pick, but honestly, so far I've trusted them, and Westball was the test for me. When I heard the Maze Runner guy, I was like, Okay, and that's where, like we talked about today in the Discord, check our Discord, because there's like rumored X-Men writers, and I was like, I don't really like these choices, but like to Superbad Mike's point, is anything can change in time or the structure or the studio. Like West Ball, I'm probably gonna check out some of those Maze Runners. I had no interest, but I want to see more of his stuff now that I've seen this in Zelda. But from what I've seen and talked to, no, I've never met anyone who went, "Oh, Maze Runner is the shit." Right? It's always just, yeah, it's good. So that's where you can get someone. To me, this is like a big step up for him. But yeah, I'd say like a Gareth Edwards, someone that has some franchise experience, but maybe is not super excited. Maybe Edwards would be too expensive. But yeah, just somebody that's done one thing. Maybe like before she did the Marvels, unfortunately, like Nia DaCosta, but she's doing 28 Days Later, so, or 28 Years Later, the sequel. So I think a lot of them have. All my picks are kind of on things, but that's what I would have thought. You guys got anybody?
Fuck, I am so bad with these
So
like
bad.
director choices. I was quickly trying to Google some people. I don't even know. Just to throw a name because I I thought he was fucking Maul from Inception there for a second. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just throw out Christopher McQuarrie. I don't even know who this
Oh,
guy
Mission
is. What has
get
he
Tom
done?
Cruise in there.
Oh, Mission
Impossible.
Impossible, okay.
Mission Impossible.
He's done
Guys.
there's some mostly action, I guess, in there. It's
So-
funny because these movies are action movies, but like
Yeah.
I just see them kind of as a drama or like mostly drama, I guess. on the
Action's like
action
third
scale.
down the line. It's
Yeah.
like drama, like social issues, and then action.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
yeah. That's the thing though. Does Tom Cruise play a human or a monkey? You know, I'd love to.
Oh,
see
he'd
Tom
have
Cruise.
to be a human. Come
I
on,
know,
he's
but I'd
not gonna
love-
be mocapped.
I would love him to play a monkey. It'd be great. But yeah, he could. I would.
He could be Rafiki. I feel like if he's an ape, he has to be super separate from it.
His
Like it's
ass
probably
is
in his
out,
contract.
Not mocapped. It's like a human ass.
Just
No,
dong hanging around.
what I've said is I'll stand by it until he proves me wrong or does something else. Collateral is his best role he's ever done. That's where he's a villain. If we want some piece of shit human that's down underground, give me McQuarrie directing a villain Tom Cruise against the apes. Fuck yeah, that'd be
Like
so good.
a better Woody Harrelson.
Yeah,
you
and the
know?
good thing is with Tom, you'd be like, oh well, you're really a hero because like you're fighting for the humans, but you know you're doing it for a terrible
You
way.
get some
so.
like Tropic Thunder. What's his name? Les Grossman.
Yeah. And I will fuck you monkeys up. Taylor, any thoughts? Any person out there you thought could make a good director of West Ball? Because obviously he's
James
doing Zelda
Cameron.
next, and it sounds like he's not doing. Maybe he'll do the sequel, but yeah, he did kind of infer that maybe he won't do the whole thing. So it might be like Rupert Wyatt, where he did Rise and then he bounced off, and Matt Reeves finished it off. So
I mean, you said it, Kirkland. I think James Cameron would be perfect.
he's gonna leave his 10 Avatar movies to go make an Apes movie.
He's just
Oh
gonna
no,
take
he'll
a break.
still do them.
You know?
He'll still do them.
Fuck. They could also cross over, right?
Technically they could cross over. Yeah.
Get Pandora in there.
That'd be
yeah.
something, yeah. That's where the ship takes him. He lands on Earth, and you're not on
Quaritch.
Earth. You're on Pandora.
The Quaritch
Yeah.
man, like
versus
he,
Tom Cruise.
I don't even think it's out of the realm of possibility. I feel like you could get that actor in these Apes movie playing basically the Tom Cruise asshole that you just pitched. Like
Or
it'd be
ape. He could play an ape too. I could see him put on the
it's
mocap.
the exact same thing. It's like Pandora,
Quaritch.
where he starts as a human. Next movie, he's like ape
Well,
version
fuck yeah,
of
he
himself.
did do. What am I saying? I could see him put on the mocap. He did put on the mocap. He was fucking mocap that whole movie. Number 2.
Exactly, man. Gravity will make you weak, or soft, whatever the fuck the line is.
Anyone else other than James Cameron, or that's your
That's
pick?
my pick. I'm going with it.
There you go. I hope you're Clay. You let us know. You let us know on Discord.
Yeah.
Other patrons too, and Discord people let us know. Kirkland, what is your final score for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah. So my first, I'm gonna start with saying it's my first score because I definitely think this is one that can really fluctuate on
a Dune
multiple. No, I'm not gonna say an asterisk placeholder, but just for my first initial review, I think I'm gonna go. I think 8.5 right now. I feel like it's maybe a little bit too high just because of how much issues I have with just the pacing of that third act, but I think they did such a great job of just establishing where the world is here. I really, really loved our heroes and our characters. I thought Freya Allen I think that's her name. You know, the actress that
It
played
is,
May.
yes.
I thought she was fantastic as the role that she was in, and I forgot to mention it actually when we were talking about her, but because she is like English, she's playing like she kind of has a classic North American accent in this, but there's definitely moments when I could hear her native tongue coming out when she would emphasize certain words. I feel like I wouldn't have noticed it if I didn't see The Witcher, just because she talks like that in The Witcher. But
Yeah.
no, I thought she was great. I liked Proxima Caesar for at least his usage there. And the movie looked beautiful. Like we never really talk about just how they look, but
Yeah.
it
Did
really
you
looked
feel at
great.
any point so it still wasn't as good as War and Dawn though? I felt like if there was Rise, and this was I think at times, but I don't think there's any ape visuals that looked. Proxima looks good, and what's his name, Radica, right? Like they looked.
Raka?
Rocka, I think they were like the highest, but there were still times in Dawn and War I felt this looks like a real fucking monkey, where I still feel like they never. There was still like a little gloss on them. I feel like it was closer to Rise for me than that. Still not bad, still better than Rise, but there was. I don't know if they ever got the heights of those other two.
I didn't see it lesser than, but this
Okay.
was also the first one that I'd seen in theaters, so maybe it was just like to see it on the big screen. It was just a
Yeah.
nice experience because you've probably seen all those other ones in theaters, eh?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this, and it was good enough that the pacing issues I had didn't affect it too much. I still a little, yeah, it could have been better. I think the fact that it is 8.5, and for the first two acts, I thought it was going to be a 10 out of 10 is a big disappointment because that is a pretty big drop off, like a full point and a half just for that reason. But no, yeah, it was fantastic. It was good little cap off to the retro, and I'm very much looking forward to see where the story goes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'm the exact same. I've gone back and forth between like an 8.5 and a 9. It's tough. So like it would never be. I don't think it would ever get as high as like a 9.5 or a 10. I think I do have issues that no matter what, when I rewatch them, they're not going to change. I think they're strong, errors or flaws, but not strong in the sense of like that's a flaw. I don't think it works. Not in the sense of this is really bad, but no, I think overall it was great. I think they did. I think the thing that we also didn't talk about is like, I guess War is a mixed one, but still, just that whole trilogy is hailed as in high regard. They could have easily dropped the ball majorly, right? And even then, it's not Reeves, it's not Riot, but it's also not Circus. And Circus had a big deal to do with that, right? And hopefully he can bring some of that to Gollum because I didn't see any of that in Venom Let There Be Carnage, so I hope that can happen. But in this route, they carried, like you said, if it's a torch passing, they carried it well. So I think I'm like an 8.5. I don't know. I had some. Like I said, 8.59. It's somewhere I'm literally rocking back and forth. I guess I can cheat and say right now I'll be an 8.75. I'll go in the middle, and I think a second rewatch will solidify it. Plus talking with other people to see, maybe some pros, cons, because maybe there's more stuff. I go, oh, that didn't really work, or I see a different side. But see, I'll go like an 8.75. So I don't know if it's in my top 5. I don't know. It's close. It's in the top 10 though for this year, and I'm happy though. That's the same thing of like. We've gotten so many great Apes movies, even just getting Dawn. I don't expect anyone to be ever as good as Dawn again, because that to me is like a masterpiece for sci-fi stuff. So for me, it's just like if I get another great to good Apes movie, I'm happy. This is so far from Beneath and Battle and a couple other like the 2001 one. Like there's so many we talked about where it's like, oh yeah, this was very fun for what it was, but boy, is there issues. I don't have this. This is like, it wasn't the greatness of some of the Reeves ones, but still pretty damn good. So, Mr. Field, close us off.
Yeah, I think everything we've talked about, I think it really hits home. I think we brought up some good points, and for me, this movie it stands. I love this. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Whoa.
This is a fantastic world. I love being in a familiar setting with a new story and new characters to explore and their developments. I think that they did a lot of really wonderful things with the way they told this story and the motivations for the characters and getting to see the tribulations as well. It just sets up a really interesting new storyline with new films that I'm really eager to watch and just to learn about this new world that exists generations after war. While this film definitely pulls, for me at least, it pulls things from a variety of different Apes movies, I think it still does a good job at trying to conform and shape them into being its own identity. So this is one that I'm definitely going to be watching many a time. I was thinking eventually I would buy the Planet of the Apes trilogy, but now I'm not even going to buy it now when it's a quadrilogy, because if we get that next film and that next film, then I got to wait for like the sixology bundle,
a
like the
box
Resident Evil
set,
movies.
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a big box set. I hope there's some neat steel books. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be sweet if it comes in like a cage or something too. Like what kind of
Cage.
marketing can they get crazy with?
That'd be pretty wild.
Just James Franco's house from the movie Rise. Fucking
The
what's his name
neighbor's
again?
house?
Already forgot.
Will
Norm?
Rodman,
Will.
not Norman. that's somebody
Yeah,
else.
that's his father. Sorry. It's getting late.
Yeah, Norman Rodman, aka Norman. My name's Norman Rodman Osborne.
Something of a rod man myself.
Yeah, like the real man and yeah, or you just wait get the whole pack. Too. Maybe they'll make every single Apes ever made, and you just
It's gotta happen, right? They did it for the Bond movies.
Ooh,
Or they
that's
did it
a-
for the old Bond movies, and they're still since then. It's been new ones.
That's at least got to be like a $200 edition. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Well, we're not done with Apes yet. We've talked about the to death, but next week we will do a ranking episode to end it off, and then we'll wait until we get some more Apes and see what happens there. But yes, it was a fun journey. Definitely one of my favorite retros. It was good to do all these. Great that we got this, and great that overall we're positive. It kind of sucks when we do retros and it leads up to like a meh movie or
Yeah.
a shit movie. That's always like, oh, that's kind of deflating. But this is like I'm a satisfied end with this, and now they're there. Now anytime we got Apes, you can go back and check. We've talked about every single one. We'll be back next week to rank some Apes, see where that all lies, and it will not be boring.
No, Aldo, no.